So I mean, I don't remember. That is very good in French.
25 rupees are there still. For showing visitors.
And I can tell you, this was in the state government setup. And I can also tell you all these things we could get. And I joined from IIA here, Kaushik Saab, and then director gave me 6 lakh. Tum jaake ye sab karo. So it was not because state government se de hi nahi sakte ho aap. But today that situation is totally different. And I can tell you that opportunities are, I mean, you must have read at least Stalin, few other, and if you, some of you want to really know much earlier problem, 25 year also they had published similar thing. And I think hard copy is there. So you can read 25 years ago what people felt. So, you know, it's an opportunity for you people. That's what I can say. So, बाकी तो उपदेश देते रहेंगे.
Okay.
So in fact, the engineering team, I wanted to ask this person, Mahesh, did he do all this GUI based on a requirements page from the scientific team or no? Was that, I think, yeah.
I mean, how much interaction is between engineer and
scientific team should give a requirements specification. I think that kind of interaction is needed. Then they will also feel happy that they got what they wanted. And you will feel happy that, yes.
Please answer, Mukesh.
No, you come here. Why do you?
Yes, सामने खाली है.
हाँ, सामने सब खाली है.
Is the
engine
in charge?
Yeah, I know.
आप भी आ जाइए.
नहीं मैं तो फ्रंट पे हुई.
Can you repeat question?
You created this GUI, etc., right? For storing the telescope data and the weather data, etc., and displaying it also.
Yeah, displaying only, not.
Okay. So, was that requirement given from the scientists, or they just each one told you orally and based on that you formulated it?
Initially, requirement given by human body. He was in charge.
It was actually given by the scientist, not in the formal way. This informal talk. When I will meet to him, then I will say that I need this.
Yeah.
It's not in a formal.
Yeah. I mean, what she is asking is in instead of these are very organized.
No. The reason I'm saying, if you give the same thing in written format, it will also help him to checklist
yes.
whether everything is done. And finally, what will happen? I'll tell you. We have learned this. He will develop something. Then you will feel, oh, this should have been in this page and that should have been in this page. So it's good to give it in written. And after it develops, what all you need to store at what frequency, etc., so that it can go with the data. She asked that some of this should go. Some of this may not need to go. So what should go with the data, etc. And that helps in documentation. Requirements, and then he will put the thing, and then that document will, then he need not keep training everybody.
Yeah, I think adding to what Sita said, I am in the tag, and so as he said that we are giving feedback to the engineers and they do what we want, but at the same time, I think we also are responsible in I'm in track and I see the kind of proposal sometimes written. It's written in a very, very casual manner. So that is not very encouraging here. Because if we are giving things, they are doing it. I think it is our job to, be serious in putting the proposal. Sometimes it's half a page scientific justification. Today we have heard the Stalin's talk and, the effort that they have put in selecting the source list, that has made the difference. So I think whenever we put the proposal, make sure that we use the full page limit that is given to us. Write a very nice scientific justification, because once you write that, I think a good amount of your paper is already done. Yeah, so I think that's something which, as an observer, we need to take into account.
I mean, it boils down also that we take things too much for granted. You know, we are here, so this is our expectations, but to get that expectations, there is some contribution we have to do. also.
मानस आप लोग आगे क्यों नहीं आ रहे हो? I'm little bit worried. And also segregation should not take place. That students should sit one corner.
बैक सीट पे बैठने का टाइम चला गया आपको.
Yeah, so I think this is a good beginning that it's very clearly spelled out why we are, sitting here and what is the expectation from all the sides, right? People who are managing the telescope, people who are allocating the time and engineering team and all that, we need a very strong cohesion between the people. So thankfully, we thought that we start this Google form that was done, I think, 2 weeks ago. And many people have responded. People can still respond because it's still open, is accepting responses even after that for 2 days until there is some, we start writing notes and giving some final recommendation to the committee. Many people responded, and we are actually looking at all the responses very carefully in the next few days. What we plan to do now for the interactive part of this session is that I will just take up a few which came from many people, and also during the last session, many things were perhaps not known to most of us. I mean, that this work is already going on, and this was good because it answers many questions which are already, or many wish list which is already there. So it's good to see that the work is in already progress. So, for example, I just take there are many points about telescope control and dome and control system. So this is naturally, we don't have to say, the requirement is very clearly spelled out, and the importance of that we have seen from the 3.6 meter as well as 1.3 meter, whatever modern telescope, on which Aries engineering team worked and made the automation. We can simply borrow it, from what we have already.
Amitesh, I'm just interrupting because I remember now last year there was sudden discovery that the 3.6 meter slit was actually in the line of sight of the telescope.
Okay.
This was, I mean, daytime, so not many users know about it.
So I make I make a comment here. I just like to point it out. So it is important that when we implement any engineering activity or automation or anything, then Dr. Sita has pointed out, it's important to have a scientist or the user getting involved so that he can make sure what he wanted is actually implemented. Now, it was accidentally, it was accidentally discovered in 3.6 meter when I was looking at things. Maybe I share the actual story.
Yeah.
Okay? Then this is also very important that why instrumentation here. Okay. We have implemented in the cost team a small prototype for polarimetry, not just the imaging polarimetry, but also the spectropolarimetry. It is very much there with some limitation. After hearing a lot of interest, I was thinking that, in a couple of months, I will submit a final report, and many students worked on the calibration also. Here only Sadhana is there and other people. So good results. There's good calibration on polarimetry. This is a 2-channel. So basically, because of many limitation, we use 2 Goldstein with some orientation so that we get a 4 Stokes parameter, 4 orientations simultaneously. So we are dividing the aperture there. All right. And then I monitored a very famous blazar, which has a very high polarization variation. I think I forgot the name, but it is plus 70 degree or something. So I monitored it in 2 channels now, polarization behavior. In one channel it was constant, other channel it was always varying. it was very obvious that why it is happening, because I am putting the gold stem in the pupil plane. It can happen if one of the pupil plane is getting obstructed, other pupil plane is not getting obstructed. Because I mean, it's very simple to think now, but I spent many nights to
Yeah.
understand what's happening. I mean, how can that happen? It was so repeatable every night because I was given bright nights. Every night it is the same behavior. So just can't do that. And then, of course, I found out that because it's one side of the slate, which is always coming on the way, so half of the aperture is cut, which was falling on one of the two holes and prism, and it was giving a very different behavior. So this was an accidental discovery, but came from, not direct. So it is very important that when we implement this, for example, I will ask this if you have already doing, what are the procedure you are going to adopt? That how are you going to release it? I mean, I now remember during 3.6 meter, all the meeting, Professor Tandon was always asking whenever we go and present something, he will say, where is the document to verify whatever you are saying? He was always, and he will never listen that what is the procedure. He always says, have the procedure first, how will you release it finally? That you are verified. So it's very important. I think the update is that he found that some offset had solved the problem, but not fully. If I'm not a bit wrong in that, it has reduced the problem, but the problem is still there. I think.
No, I think it has been solved,
Fully solved.
fully solved.
Yeah, so sorry, I just brought out the same point
Mhm.
because I'm almost like an outsider.
No.
But I watch the log every morning.
What do you mean by?
No, in the sense, I'm not an observer. What I mean always, and you see,
That is not the, I mean.
no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that particular term. But what I meant was, you see, when not only that, what happens is the people who run the system, they have their own problems also. I'm exposing them. So that way I think it may not be fair in some sense. But what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to build a environment here where people should not be embarrassed for such mistake because it is not deliberate. Right? It's unknowingly it happens. So why? But I know that kind of psychology exists. So I'm just trying to build a culture here where let us, the scientist, engineer work together and the user also know that there is a problem.
So I think because I'm just giving it to you, because now the point came and I was also not aware, we are the members of some committee. It will be good that we bring out a note showing that, yes, because I produced the note which shows there are errors.
Yeah.
So just bring a
correction
counter
Yes,
note
yes.
that now it has been solved so that
By
everybody
doing this,
knows.
Just do things as transparent as possible,
I don't want to, I mean, I don't know, so I will be not able to comment on those type of things. Generally, as you referred, Ranjan sir, when I was there, couple of things I noticed and I still remember two Department of Space and Department of Atomic Energy. The thing to learn for us as astronomers, planning. See, as soon as we plan what you said for, proposal, it happened. Not only planning, discussion before taking it to the prototyping or whatever you call it. I will go a step further. You make an independent review committee. Whatever, I mean, this is my way of thinking and I saw how useful it has been resolved because you present to the review committee at least which are, they will be able to see and if they are knowledgeable, they will. So these things help and that also, many communication gap which are there and everybody cannot be Tandon type of strict and well-disciplined person. But we have to learn because, it helps all of us in our planning, in our institution, in our working, thinking. That's all.
Should I continue?
No, please.
Okay. There is a.
Just making it a little more interactive.
Yeah. So there is-
You can have agenda point. for
Yeah,
that.
we'll come to that.
Basically, we'll go that only one by one. There's an interesting point here mentioned that the pointing could be automated now. It brings to some parameters to be known from in charge is that what is the current pointing accuracy, the pointing
Yeah.
accuracy of the telescope?
Yeah, because this was added basically because if you want to make any survey observation.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right,
if you
you
want
want to do it fast.
automate
You do not
yeah,
spend too much time
absolutely,
on,
that's why it was-
what is this pointing?
I checked
One
on
meter?
1.3 meters to reach where?
No, 1 meter.
1 meter.
You what? Okay.
One-
Yeah, this is only 1 meter.
No, there's a short form, ST.
रमाकांत आइए आगे आइए
हाँ, रमाकांत,
प्लीज कम
Please come, sir.
नहीं नहीं
Ah, Ramakant.
Yeah, because he's in
मानस
charge.
को आगे बुला दिया प्लीज पॉइंट
Just on.
Hello.
yeah.
So regarding pointing, not very accurate as it's within 1 hour, 1 minute.
Half minute.
हाँ तो नंबर so I think number
No.
क्योंकि यहाँ आप रिलेटिव वर्ड करते हैं ना वेरी और लार्ज एटलीस्ट साइंस और इंजीनियरिंग में नहीं बनता है अदरवाइज वो मैकेनिकल और इंजीनियर में गड़बड़
तो वो शर्मा रहे थे, वो नाक में बहुत लार्ज होता है तो वो that is what exactly. I mean,
Yes, you still need a white.
I fill under centering manually and then only it will go in. And I would like to ask Mr. Kumar, is there any backlash?
There's a backlash, a big backlash to the goal motion.
Yeah.
But when you do a pointing of the star, we use only the fine
Fine.
motion. There's no
Okay.
backlash.
So you
This
can,
backlash is there, but it's not very large that it's comparable to 1 hour.
okay. So maybe you can have some suggestions in a small note that you go to within 1 degree by course or 2 degrees and then go by fine. Something like that.
There was the attempt.
You already might have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just complete.
just let me call, I'll let you come here. No, it's sorry, Kumarji, we just wanted to finish it, then we.
The point is, we never did a pointing model correction for this telescope. It can be done. So we have logged some 100 stars to do that. The thing is, when you do that again, there's no repeatability in the offset. So factors which are affecting the implementation of pointing.
Yeah, it might even depend on your instrument, back-end instrument.
right
And also the flexure of
Yeah,
the screw,
flexure.
that's very, we didn't model the flexure.
Yeah. Fine. I mean, that's fine.
Right.
So far, backlash is not greater than the pointing error, which is fine. Yeah.
This pointing accuracy of 1 meter telescope, as far I remember, above 45-degree altitude was about 10 to 15. Now I'm wondering, this is 1 arcminute, which is quite large.
No, as he said, it might depend on the back-end instrument, how well it's balanced, etc. So that we'll leave it to them. We can't discuss the details.
Right, that's when planning is,
Yeah.
doing it needed.
Yeah.
And only one thing I will get was Umesh bhai and Sanwan will maybe bolenge. At one stage CCD guider was used.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
here.
ठीक है, there was some problem, but it helped a lot.
Yes.
So, I mean, this is, I'm telling you what happened
Yeah.
3 decades ago.
Yes.
Now you are in modern era, you have technology. Many things are very, so I mean, please see. I mean, there are some problem, how to solve it.
2010, I don't know what happened. Up to 2010, we have used this.
Automate what?
It's still here, but people are not using, I don't know.
Yeah, I think last time one of the observers said that we are not going beyond 5 minutes of exposure. So we don't require to use.
Oh.
After 5 minutes, it's okay.
Beyond half an hour, you will need. Yes.
During maintenance of the telescope, I encountered only 2 problems which were not solved. One is optical alignment, which is still there, that I could have. And another was the problem in the backlash elimination device in the deck axis. If you point deck, it overshoots. There is problem in the backlash elimination device. So if you can look into engineering aspects of that device, backless illumination device, it can help.
Right.
Not
Oh,
just doctor.
yeah, in that context, can you please indicate, because you are the best person, कुछ उसमें मैकेनिकल खराब भी हुआ है ना,
Yes, yes.
which you have to take precaution, otherwise it
Yeah,
may-
it's overshoot in the deck direction.
कुछ if you can mention it, you please document it, because that's very I don't see that number anywhere, but it's very variable for the life of the telescope.
Yes, that's important.
बता दीजिए क्या है.
And backless illumination device on the
deck.
north sphere.
Okay,
On north sphere, there are counterweights
okay.
to eliminate the backless. So some problem is there. So it has to be studied mechanically. And it's very important because telescope overshoots in the deck.
The other thing, what Sanwal is saying, is alignment problem. See, I heard alignment is now being done using laser. This is not the correct way, because already 10-15 arc-second, beam size will be of this order. So you have to use polarimeters, proper polarimeters. So this laser beam is not the right thing.
So the laser that we are using for alignment, it is not for the, it is for the, course alignment. It is for the,
Chalu hai, chalu.
it is for the chorus alignment of the, it is basically finding out the axis of the primary mirror that we are putting it again. It is for that purpose. And finally, we do the alignment using the tilting of the secondary mirror. And then final alignment we can do with, there are three pads on the primary mirror, through which we can also do some tilting and do the alignment.
That is very risky.
How do you find the axis of secondary mirror? This is
That is very risky.
So we mount the laser on the cell of the primary mirror, and then we rotate it. And then
What
we
is
see
the accuracy you achieve in the process?
we
Accuracy, while you say na centering,
yes, sir.
what is the accuracy you achieve? Because you know, again, we are talking about, so centering with what accuracy?
Yes. So centering that we get is of the maybe we can say of some millimeter because of the laser.
Please tell the some millimeter, at least
Yes.
from an engineer
but-
like you, it's not so. Wondering why you are keeping quiet about all these things.
Yeah, I think
Before you started your PhD, you did lot of things.
Shaq Hartman will
So yeah, that's what.
no,
चुप
actually-
हो, पहले तो ये बताओ.
Yeah, Shaq Hartman actually we procured, we tested some things, but that was not so successful. Though we use Shaq Hartman principles on 3.6 meter dot and engineering team. So the alignment actually September 97 first alumnization took place, and January 99 I joined as a scientific officer at this observatory. And Ram Sagar and Vijay Mohan straight away said, look, your seating place is there, 104 centimeter telescope, and you have got to use this telescope for your science work.
कहाँ होगा भाई मुझे याद
You have
नहीं.
got
That is not peaceful.
you have got to check the data quality. You have got to maintain and upgrade and meet the requirement of all the users. And in fact, that was the era. I mean, most of the students I've interacted with. And so one of the main problem, as Dr. Sanwal pointed out, it was the optical alignment of primary and secondary. And this F13 beam, it's basically I would call a slow beam. So the practice which is adopted normally in ESO and other telescopes is geometrical assessment of out of focus images. In fact, one of the images was shown by Krishna Reddy there, and the principle is very simple. That has to be symmetric. So I wrote a software which can actually fit a circle. I do not know how many students can fit a circle. Just try fitting that. So just taking the edges of these boundaries, both the boundaries, if it is circle, let's try to coincide that center of both the circles, inner and outer. So as Professor Joshi was mentioning, I wrote a code, but we were stuck with some another issue. Like to coincide the center, we need to move M2, secondary mirror, and secondary did not have any displacement kind of things. So there, I think right now we are able to do at a sub.
No,
some
so actually the
Facility is not much there actually.
Yeah.
That's what we are actually
Right.
wanting the.
Outlook,
The
I mean,
problem is whenever we have to do some adjustment in secondary, then we have to pass the telescope, then some support has to be there, then one person has to go inside, do the changes, and then again take the images, and then verify what it has.
You cannot do it online.
It's like
Yeah, right. So that's a very tedious process. As a result, what is happening? Actually, we have been able to get the image quality of Sampurnanand telescope to up to 1.5 to 2 arcsecond. That's a kind of quality.
2 arcsecond.
In fact, so far, whatever the presentation I saw, nobody
Okay,
showed
good to
a
see.
continuous observation of more than 1.5 arcsecond, even at our band. Okay, so we have been able to achieve that. So okay, I think yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I get the
Yeah.
point.
So what I suggest, Amitesh, as we said, so this is one problem which is definitely identified.
Yes.
It needs a detailed review and also, knowledge from the earlier users and so on. But probably, we'll not be able to get a complete solution of this with the discussion. So please try to identify such problems, core problems in this. But then we'd probably like to, today take up some of the science thing as well. Yeah.
Yeah, one more thing is actually proper documentation was also not actually considered to.
This is our problem from the birth.
Actually, last 2 years, we have prepared a complete manual of the procedure, everything we documented. and keep it
So maybe they should have a workshop with Dr. Sanwal and put down the documentation. there.
That needs to be computerized.
Yeah.
Obviously.
No, but you see, you people are at the helm of the affair.
It has to become.
No, it's other way around. I've been telling you,
Take long time.
no,
I want to add one thing. For the digitization of any document, we have a full size scanner. At our,
Very big, very big.
just creating another 1,000 images will not solve.
people are saying there is no document.
Yeah.
No, they can prepare my. Okay, so we move ahead and should we take now some of the suggestions or discussion driven towards the management aspects, particularly the time allotment process. This is now slowly moving to the science utilization, how to maximize it. Telescope operation, whether the light assistance and data dissemination, finally, which is related to the archive. So here I would like the students to basically, come forward in.
So before we just get into, their comments, just go through the slides. I will just quickly, go through the slides. I mean, it's not big thing. Basically, the data archival project is on. So Kuntal is, basically driving that. There are quite a few students and postdocs also involved in that process. I really want the data to be made to public domain as soon as possible, particularly the older data. So as you see, we have majorly 4 telescopes, 4 nighttime telescope, 1 solar telescope. So all of them have generated, huge amount of data. But obviously, the main problem is the inhomogeneity of the data, and majority of the data do not even have a header. The users, I'm a little bit of complaining. Users do not also use standard data for, file name convention. So this is actually ridiculous to me. To be honest, I'm a solar physicist. These things have been standardized many decades back. You take data from any sources, a standard data information will be there, which is not there in many of these, data. And that's why the data archiving process becomes enormously difficult. So header information, absence of header information, absence of file name convention following, even the directory structure. Some people put their own names in the directory. This is not acceptable actually. So this again needs a complete change in the culture. How when you go to observe, you have to follow certain principles. Just taking the data is not enough. It needs a documentation. So I've been requesting Kuntal and the team to make that, and it should come as an almost like an office order that your data will not be given to you unless you follow this. Yeah.
We have a separate when we release this.
Yeah. So when you observe, then these are at least you have to follow this. So what I'm trying to just arrive at is so we have 3 portals. The solar data portal was comparatively easier, although they were not even fixed file. So we had to convert a lot of these binary files. Again, there is no file name convention. The telescope do not have any pointing. That's a major problem. So for any science users, I do not know how people were using it. They were just comparing some features like a prominence or something, and they were doing science. But modern day it doesn't happen because it doesn't have a point at all. So if you have a limb, you take the data from somewhere else, you cross-calibrate and then find the limb and try to. So we still do not have any coordinates, but we have only files retrieved and it's all stored. People have the data search engine, so one can look at the what data is available. At least first principle should be what are the different types of data in this observatory and which dates they have been observed. It's basically a catalog which we are trying to prepare. Then question comes up with the data utilization and all that. But this is a sort of cultural change, I would say, that you move into that direction so that any future data you collect that already has this inbuilt there. So the search engine is already there. So there is a user registration and login, and then if you are requesting for a data, then the data will be put it in an HTTP archive. So this backend systems are more or less been developed. There is also this search engine in terms of all these other Simbad and standard format. Again, Kuntal and other members are following these principles. And then, of course, what I understand is astrophotometry is the main challenge. And there was a project student from IIT BHU. Again, these are fantastic projects, for students from other universities. They are interested in doing this thing. So I've made, this provision and money can be, highlighted and all that. So there is a reasonable amount of, data archival systems under place. But what I need now is all the users who have observed so that they give the data to the observatory. Because now I have an impression that all the data is not there with us even. Because the computers, they have probably copied it, kept it in their places and all that. But of course, we are only talking about the data which is being collected from CCDs. This is again another discovery to me, even from the 1 meter telescope. I did not find any single plate. I don't know, why is it? How is it possible? We have 1904 photographic plate in Kodaikanal. Every day's plate is stored in separate almirah.
It's like a religion.
Yes, from 1904. It's actually the best, one of the best archives in the globe now. And we have digitized the entire thing. I was responsible for that, and people are using all over the globe. So photographic plates, then it went to film also. So we had up to 74 plates, then we have films. Then even X-ray films were used. Even today it is used. One image is taken from photography.
This is utmost important.
So I do not know where this photography. Does anybody know where the plates are?
Plates are not there.
Plates are not there. In the initial first year, some photographs were taken to check the image quality.
That's all.
That's all. After
There, I mean,
But वो जो plate का जो machine हमने instrument में इसमें रख दिया.
वो सब I don't want to comment. वो जो सिराज भाई used to say कि वो सब वहाँ कोडाईकनाल के archive में भेज दो. So it's archival.
So it's gone.
To the best of my knowledge, you see the list of publication. I just analyzed when I prepared that. There is no photographic observations. एक कोई galaxy का या कहीं. I mean, I don't hardly remember कोई paper, कोई publication है.
There were some clusters I saw
in cases which were pre-CCB or
ऐसा है क्लस्टर का आई मीन आई कैन टेल यू हाँ वो
Film.
जो है वो फोटोग्राफ हम कहीं ये जो आपके लाइब्रेरी में है ना वहां से बनाते हैं
Okay, so I just brought up this thing because I felt it is quite, quite bad. Because to be honest, since you mentioned, I visited Greenwich Observatory. They returned Kodaikanal plates to Kodaikanal.
Yes.
Because Kodaikanal plates were sent to Greenwich. See, the main Greenwich Observatory, the sunspot number series was taken actually not from Greenwich alone, from 11 observatories across the globe. And Kodaikanal sent plates. And they were almost missing. After one of us taking this, it was sitting in two other big blocks. So I discovered that the Greenwich people has returned it. It was digitized again later on.
For astronomers, it is almost like returning Kohinoor.
Absolutely, it is actually. So and Greenwich didn't have any space to keep it. They were happily by their cost they sent it. We didn't have to pay for it. So I think these are important thing. And since we are celebrating 50 years of this thing, I wanted to launch this actually on the opening day, but we couldn't mature enough so that we didn't show it in the public. But I think this is a very, very important element also for continuing our heritage, continuing our, because government will love this. Because
documentation.
where is the documentation? So this is also one kind of documentation only, right? This is the result. And back in things again. Sorry, I just thought, I will remind that this is one of the major projects the time will come. Yeah. And so that, this makes it, into that mode. Whom was working also very, so we have,
What is the timeline?
Kuntal, 1 year from now, I think 6 months.
Actually, you said it. ISRO culture should bring.
Yes,
No,
yes.
it is
As soon as you say you have a,
one line so that.
so that somebody asks, क्या हो रहा है, क्यों?
सोलर का जो भी इमेज है उसमें क्वालिटी साइंटिफिक कितना है पता नहीं है, वो 3 महीने में आपको मिलेगा. 3 months we will have it.
Solar we are not talking.
Because I can only.
No, you can tell that you are master. So you know how to manage. You are no outsider, right?
So that is true. That is very easier job for me. But Humchand's, the 1.3 meter is again a fantastic resource because of शुरू से ही वो स्थिति में. So that I think will be up much earlier, right?
Actually,
Astrophotometry.
और एक बार आप फ्यूचर का कर लेंगे तो slowly past में जो होगा.
Right.
But at least P equal to 0 कहीं से तो शुरू हो. That's a good news.
Right.
With each data set, there were numerous challenges involved, and it is only a few months back that we've been able to streamline this entire process. And even collecting the data was not that easy, as the Pankaj pointed out. Even with the 1.3 meter data, which is a relatively new telescope, we don't have any data before 2014 or 2015. So we're collecting it literally like from the observers by emailing them, getting the filter information from them. Otherwise, the archive will not run unless we complete the hidden information. So now we are at a level that we've matured and we've developed all these codes. In fact, for the 1.3 meter data, we are more or less complete up to 80% of the data that we have. That is already homogenized. It's already available in the database. So internally, if we search, it should show us in the output. So, we are progressing, and I hope in the next few months, we should be able to have it tested.
It's a very important activity which has been, it's a landmark.
Yeah, so we have the data server, the backend is already ready, thanks to Sanjeet and other people also. So it's just like
Data is complete now?
It's absolutely complete. We followed the ISO convention. There are more than 80 header keywords available. And those 80 keywords are going to remain the same across the telescopes and across the instruments.
So that's the thing, because next when you are
It's
not a very easy task. I can tell you.
Nobody is saying.
No, and so.
Nobody said that it's easy.
As it said, you can declare a day and say, from this date, everything will be like this. Then do the past.
I just have a request because this time we've circulated a document along with the JTAG schedule. So we would request if the observers can follow certain guidelines that would make our job easier. And the future data sets that we get will not require so much of human intervention as we've been doing now. That will also, we can use that manpower for some other purpose.
But how are you making sure
And if-
that, how are you making sure that the convention is being
Followed.
followed?
In future.
So right now, I mean, for a month, we'll trust them that they'll follow it. If not, then we'll take some stern measures,
No, no,
like,
not even in that, even checking that because you have to run it and see, right? So is there a script or something?
yeah. So whatever the entire script, we are also keeping logs in between. If any file fails, and so we're providing the astrometry also, not only the complete header information, but the astrometry also. So whichever file fails in performing any of these steps, there is a separate log which is kept, so we can manually go and check those
Yeah, because
files.
once you make this, then the assistant over there himself.
Yes,
Oh,
that's it.
that-
Yeah.
that is-
I was just going to say, the observing assistant will be also giving some policing power.
Yeah, so that is the plan. Till the time this is implemented completely, the software will be provided to them, and next morning we'll have a phone job or something around at some point of time, and that will update all the files which have been observed the previous night.
So it's very good.
Can I something last?
Right, something.
Oh, yeah. So you can, no, I was seeing it very this kind of thing. Yeah. So there is one more possibility, more ambitious possibility that don't depend upon the observer. So it's possible to make sure computer does it.
I said clone job, we'll run a clone job.
Somebody has to run. For example, what I'm saying, for example, a new file is created. Name is automatically given like timestamp, for example. Instrument dot timestamp.
Yeah, the data acquisition system will already have that.
Exactly.
Yes, you're right. That is true, Because the CCTVs are old, they are all in a different operating systems also.
No, we can do outside also. No, what we can do, okay, I think.
Okay, so these are matter. So let us.
Have the place
Yeah.
for discussion.
Yeah, okay, no,
That's good, we will identify you guys to
we
join.
understand that part, I think. we will go down. So maybe, something about, we hear about the night assistants, that, how, users are using the night assistant. Yeah, because there are some suggestions which, I'm not sure, I mean, we already discussed something, but, so how night assistants are, being used? And is there there's some demand for increasing the number, which I think has to be substantiated, otherwise it will not happen. So anybody wants to speak on how you are using that assistant and why we need more? I think only telco in charge can tell how they are using it. Okay, if you have something.
If you know,
Students, that's right.
but the students who are the maximum users want to know from them also.
In the observation, we use CCD, so to build the LNP, we use them. And when students go to take the food in the night, we observe also the student. And the whole night food is there.
So why there is a requirement of a second night assessment?
One people, I mean, whole month.
No, do the continuous night.
Continuous night is.
No, reliever you mean? Yeah, but many
Not
days.
on the same day. What is it?
More important is that if people one day, but
One, yeah, just alternate.
okay,
10
one
day,
person
10
per day, that's what.
Sorry.
Sorry.
See, to be honest, any manpower has to be optimally used. When there's observation is not on, what are you doing with that person? Let me find out from it. 3 months, what is that?
Yeah, but he'll be by the engineering department.
So is it effectively used? What is the specific, what is the specific job he's doing?
The observing assistant in photometer telescope is a electrical person. So Mukesh utilizes that, for example, the panel upgradation.
Okay,
which has
okay.
been shown. So it was done during this monsoon period using that assistant.
So is it possible that another, because you have other assistants also in engineering, we have outsourced manpower. As a reliever, what I understand is you are only asking for a reliever.
Yeah.
He gets a weekly off. That weekly off can be, compensated by somebody else. 2% for one, just, few hours of things. Anyway, we will discuss it at length later on. But I want to hear from the students. What do you expect from the observing assistant? What is the observing assistant's role? Users लोग बोलो भाई.
आप लोगों में से कितने ऑब्जर्वर हो वो हाथ उठाओ। तो बोलो कि
हाँ.
सारे नहीं है पीछे से शुरू
Make a comment. अच्छा, Sadhana is saying something. Please use the mic.
Yes, sir. Actually, I do ample night. So actually, in between, we have to fill liquid nitrogen. So first we say that in this part, also in the whenever the instrument is installed, so we have to do alignment. So for alignment, we have to change the deck scale, and then we have to see on computer how the sticks are. So for that, one person is needed.
So it is there now. It is there now.
It
Is he useful?
So I'm quicker. This was not there 1 year back. Now you have them.
now.
So what is the extra requirement? As a only reliever. See, that particular boy's problem. We will handle it separately.
For example, after
nitrogen in between also in the night?
after night, is he free?
Sometimes it's suppose a liquid nitrogen.
Between the night, we are around 1 AM, we have to fill liquid nitrogen. So,
He's there. He's always there.
I think Sita's suggestion will solve the problem.
Yes,
You suggested two, right?
two observers.
No, I only said to observe.
To observe, not to.
एक आप हो गए
It's an overkill.
Ah.
It's an overkill.
What he means to say, if there are two observers already, then the dependency on assistance will be reduced.
Yeah, but
It will be reduced.
There are not two observers.
There
are only two nights where there is.
Yeah, coding and all that, we need some manual. So that's why it has been given. So, okay, I think we will look at the reliever part of it separately. Move on. Yeah.
So now there are some suggestions on instruments and
Yeah.
immediately after that, I think we should discuss about the science.
Right. So the instrument part, let us have a convergence there.
So the instrument parts, there are some suggestions like wide field of view camera or adding some, fast CCD, EMCCD, without. And there are many science programs, some of the science programs which people are mentioning. And also whether we need for an on-axis auto guider or off-axis auto guider. I'm just mentioning we will not really discuss each point here. It has to be decided by the team whether what is actually best, looking at the present performance parameters of the telescope. So one thing maybe we just bring that, is there any need to upgrade existing CCD in terms of fast CCD, whether there will be a utilization or not? Maybe some comments if people want to make on that additional CCD.
So you are talking about 1 meter, right?
Only 1 meter. This
We are discussing here only on its team.
4 centimeters.
Because he reached as a 1.3, so.
How many of you feel that the ST can be used for the next 10 years?
Not next 10 years.
नहीं आप हाथ उठाएंगे तो आपको आगे ऑब्जर्व करना है.
करेंगे.
Then the question would be, next 10 years, do you need another instrument?
Yeah.
If in another instrument,
CCD. First,
yeah.
let us
Okay, let us another CCD, first CCD.
Sir, one thing I want to say,
multi-wavelength CCD.
Yeah.
regarding the 4K CCD we have at 1.04 meter telescope. It is
Yeah.
actually, the quality is not very good. In the center, we have very, a big black patch, that covers around, say, more than 2 RP.
2 are.
No, is it out completely black, bad
No, it's
pixels?
not
Or?
completely black, but,
Efficiency
I
is
think
low.
we heard that,
once the CCD cleaning is done, that patch goes. But there are still patches around the corners. And
The flat doesn't help.
No, so.
This is
yeah,
which CCD,
yeah.
2K by 2K, 4K by
4K by 4K.
No, so can you maybe Rohan, that this is a chip cosmetic or it's a or it's over the plate?
Yes, the problem with chip, it's anti-reflection coating.
so earlier the 2K CCD was, the image quality was far better.
No, but
No,
after the
please.
flat fielding.
CCTV
Not
will not
quantification.
define image quality.
After the flat fielding, it's too away.
That's what I'm asking. Huh?
Yeah.
Flat doesn't help or what? You do the flat, right?
Yes, yes.
But how many back pixels have? Is there a count? How many back pixels you have?
It's not a pixel, it's an area based now sensitivity reduction. So people have to also quantify the sensitivity reduction, how much is there.
So you apply on a uniform source and then do it. It should be possible in the lab, right? You have some lab source, right?
On the telescope itself, it can be done with the sky background, one can, find out.
I mean, even uniform better light source will be.
Dome lighting.
Yeah.
Night sky is bright enough here.
Huh.
One can get enough dot.
So when you say after cleaning it goes means what?
No, but what is important is to quantify sensitivity variation across the signal, right? Because that is you can't improve that by anything.
Okay, let me propose this. Who will evaluate the CCD performance? Any project students you can take? Yeah, just take a undergraduate or master's project student. 1 month they come, give them a very specific project, tag 2 people, get a proper characterization of the CCD. Then we will take a call.
And based on that, then.
We'll take a call whether.
Mapping of the CCD.
Mapping of sensitivity variation. Essentially, it's a sensitivity. Before and after cleaning. Before and after.
So one more thing, regarding all sky camera, we don't have this.
All sky camera. You have to give me the reference. All sky camera, we will buy a few because he got some few.
There's one in 1.3 meters.
Yeah.
Second one is also, I think.
No.
So one can be just brought here. Although sky is not very different, but locally things can change.
Yeah.
Or clouds monitor, you are saying, is that the case?
Yeah, whether they want to go for observation or not.
Exactly. Cloud-
आप यहीं रहते हो ना, हॉस्टल में ही है।
But it's still helpful.
ठीक है, डॉग करने होता है तो मैं बात कर Yeah, all sky camera one, just have it.
There is spare
Yes, yes, yeah.
That camera
So,
will have come.
New CCD instrument,
Yes, one.
what
I
are the
recommend-
requirements?
I recommend one.
What are the requirements?
Hello, I am using the impulse for the polarization observation of open clusters. So for the distant cluster, it may happen that mostly it happened that they are very faint. So can we add EMCCD instead of conventional CCD because there is a option of on-chip gaining, so we can go up to fainter limits. So it may have to for at least this. Kind of-
But if you are upgrading, just one EMCCD.
I will comment on that.
Yeah, but then why not what Jeevan needs is 2 polarizer he needs. With the one you're not doing extra science.
Yeah, so at least
You
two,
need to-
yeah, 2 colors, right?
Yeah.
No. Two colors means that it would.
I mean extraordinary and yeah.
Okay, only polarizers.
Yeah.
So I before we move on,
But,
let me answer this.
Okay.
We do have EMCCD in the institute, and I think if I know correctly, there are 4 EMCCD members. Right, don't do that. Okay.
Yeah, that's
really
my-
No, so before you move, EMCCD have some inherent problem when you go to photometric calibration.
Ah,
Okay,
that's
keep in mind that. So
Artificial
before moving into a full fledged thing, what is best? Use it one of the EMCCD and characterize it and show that you can do photometric accuracy to what percentage. All EMCCDs have a inherent problem. So once it is done, Yes, definitely. There are 4 EMCCTs I know. At least one can be. Two in solar, na?
2 in solar, 1 in.
हाँ एक छोटा हमारे पास है वो but there are 4 EMCCT for practical scientific. So please do that. I mean, take it up as a project, short-term project. Just observe the cluster. And I think I remember 512 CCD was mounted for a few days.
It's mostly it is
On 40
available as a spare.
Yeah.
Even I was, I characterized that actually yesterday I saw the one light of
Yes.
the flash. I
That
characterized
is
it,
already there.
but then
These
solar
are-
people took back, they said that.
Solar people for the solar people.
Proper word.
वो correct कर दिया, I did not join.
So that's.
So I think EMCCT in general is a good.
Those to 3 years. So I thought all these problems are in few years.
First time we know that there are force, now first I am learning that there are four.
So I need, we need a catalog of equipment also.
Not only data, but these things also.
No,
The record problem again.
the Asian people will want DVR.
Vertical.
Yeah. So let's bring that discussion first, because I want this, this occasion, you see why we are having this session. Also, I wanted to have a formal recommendation from the community for any new procurement for 1 meter. That's my aim. So for that, if you need whether you need a CCD as a priority, or 2-channel, 2 measurement polarization, or a multi-channel photometer, this has to come from the community, and our efforts has to go into that. So please use this remaining portion of today's discussion into that, because otherwise we will not be able to complete. Because I want this from the community consensus somewhat. What is the preference? Do you think that the 3? Please, Sita, you take.
So can you also use multi-channel photometer, CCD photometer?
Yes, I had already proposed, and today 2 people, one Stalin and Rupert, they also proposed to have the multi-channel CCD photometer for the simultaneous photometric in 2 bands.
2 bands at
Yes,
least.
2 bands simultaneous.
At least 2 bands.
At least in 2 bands.
Yeah.
Yes.
And will that be in-house built or will it be fully procured?
We'll explore it.
Okay.
But how does it I'm just being frank enough about Girish's proposal.
Just to add.
How does it?
Girish?
That proposal for 3.6 meter. We can also think about
Girish's
for this
proposal.
telescope.
Yeah,
Just
it is not
want to add
natural.
one thing, it should be in 4 bands. I mean.
No, 3 band and 4 band, at least first we have.
Yeah, I mean,
At
something
least 2 bands.
Yeah, should you say minimum 2 bands?
Yeah, 2 bands, later we can upgrade
3
it.
to 4 bands?
Yes.
Yeah.
So also from the cadence, what I see from your most of the lights, from most of our light curve, in solar context we say either is it strictly simultaneous you need or near simultaneous is okay.
Strictly simultaneous. That's better CCD.
Yeah.
Near simultaneous. That's what I see. So because that will detect, sort of decide how many detectors you need.
At least 2 channel means 2 detectors. Is 3 channel means
Strictly?
A couple of years ago, before you joined, Anil's time, we had a SAT meeting. And his proposal was brought to SAT. What we asked was what she asked just now. Are you going to be able to make it here, or are you going to buy it off the shelf? So I think we recommended that, if you're able to
Yes,
make
fine.
it in-house, then we could consider it.
Oh, you did that? Okay, great.
So
it was recommended by SEC as well in the
Yeah.
past. Even our governing council members, they also recommended, but they said.
They recommended to build it in-house.
No, they have not written anything like that, build in-house. They said that.
we asked that question.
Yes, this question was asked.
So what is
They
the,
also suggested, I think, buying.
yeah, so I mean, is there a way, Kumar, you can say that we can take up this, development?
And Amit,
For 3.6, we have designed, optical design was carried out completely.
Yeah, he also actually, he did that.
But that, yeah, so is it possible to replicate that and just put it in?
That can be modified.
Modified, yeah, I mean, replicate it, yeah.
Isn't what is
What time frame they wanted,
Yeah.
how urgently they wanted that depends. I mean, that can govern the.
Indicate what time frame you will need.
You see, that's where interface between
Yeah.
you people.
Yeah.
The
Required.
team, plan, work, first thing, identify.
I want
It's no more with idea.
And whether the point
Yeah.
is the first priority.
I have a comment actually, I think communication team has did a tremendous effort. And very soon we will have a measure at the side port of 3.6 meter optical. And near infrared TIRCAM 2 is already working.
In the other side.
And 1.3 meter telescope has a flat field, actually, single character. So, and that is more suited for photometric,
Imaging or photometric,
imaging photometric work that is more suited. Okay.
but in one channel at a time, one filter.
One filter. So what I want to say is, if we are thinking or planning some science programs, some new instruments at 104 centimeter telescope, I think polarimetric instrument is must, considering the various science things. And if you want to go, we should go for low resolution and take out the imaging altogether. Imaging aspects altogether. What are you saying? I'm just final point I mentioned. Because this telescope is conventional telescope, you cannot get better than 2 arcsecond. Even if you align, there are thermalization issues, you cannot get better than 2 arcsecond images. And also, with time, number of nights in a year, that is also decreasing. So my proposal would be, if we have 2 dedicated instruments, and also we can think of 2 or 3 key science programs with 104 centimeter telescope, along with the end-to-end team. Because I can see that there are a lot of things, communication, as Antis pointed out, there's a dome is obstructing, engineer has to know, user has to tell, no, this gap has to be filled. That can only be filled if we are having a key survey science program.
Yes.
Okay, that will answer so many things. So this is what I want to suggest.
Okay, so shall we go to that?
Science case, I think.
I think Rupert was mentioning low resolution spectrograph also, if I remember.
But I don't
Or 1 meter fluorescence spectrograph. What brightness means you are going to get?
Yeah. We need to work out, but this is what the thought came. I mean, we can
When you say low resolution, what is the number R?
Yeah.
No, I'll go about around 2000. Look, broader line.
1 meter 1000 will be. Yeah, actually, there is such kind of bit of higher side.
Okay.
You won't be able to go faint.
There is a such kind of instrument which is used by ZTF in P60.
Okay.
The instrument is called ACT machine, but that is for the P60, 60 still. And the resolution is of the order of 100 angstrom of the order. So that's the only the broad lines, very broad lines, and it is dedicated 50 to 100 angstrom. Exact number I forgot. No, sorry. No, exact number, sorry. Then I forgot. So the main idea is to catch the important lines, to characterize the.
And what is the bandwidth of the broad line? I mean, in English.
I mean, the typical, what is the FWHM of a supernova in the early phase? Depending on that, exact number at this moment I forgot. So but the thing is, ACT machine is used just for the characterization. It is not for the very long-term monitoring or that kind of thing. The time when the transient is quite bright, at that time only they use it. So that is one thing, but that is in P60. So it is already 60 instance. So it is 48. So in that sense, you have to think about that. If we put the ACT machine kind of instruments at the back end of ST, then what should be the typical its resolution, etc.
So should we say that we get the concept note? Maybe everything we can't discuss it here. And then we combine all that and see what is the.
So prioritizing the requirement or the wish list from the community or the
So even the
user.
low dispersion spectroscopy is among the wish list at 1 meter telescope.
Yeah.
This is the point to know.
But I was just going to ask you one thing. how the, same instrument, that can be also used in 1.3 meter scenario? I mean, how feasible it is? No, how much, yeah, so is it in future? I'm just saying it's not easy.
No.
Actually, people use, what is the throughput of the instrument. That will be degraded so
So much,
badly.
yeah. But 1.3 throughput is better, so.
No, what is F ratio is different.
Because of
So the
F4,
base
it will be
thing
very difficult.
depends upon the beam
Where
which
the
is
converter.
coming, and as soon as you calibrate and do all sorts of things. So if you are waiting for F13 and if you want to change, use F4, whatever numbers are.
So, I mean, the easy answer is that it is not possible. I mean, so whatever we are thinking, why I'm asking this question is, so let us also think about, I mean, although we are restricting our, discussions to ST, but suppose, we focus on polarization only at ST, maybe a low resolution spectrograph, we can think about 1.3 as a next follow-up. So this also, you should keep in mind some kind of complementarity in terms of the science targets what you have and different kind of user community can be.
In 1.3 meter, we have.
Okay, how many of you can present use the 1.3 meter CCD for their science purpose?
They are using very heavily, 10 papers per year, 10 publications per year.
Yeah. Based
Just
on-
the images.
Just the images from 1.3.
Same kind of programs, they are running at 1 meter, they are also being run at 1.3 meter.
Just.
So. Because there was a lot of discussion about this multicolor CCDs. So I think for either of these two telescopes, one multicolor CCD can be proposed.
Correct.
Given the programs. that
One
we are
of them,
running.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
सबसे ऊपर सर या whom
अच्छा हूँ भाई कुछ बोलना चाहता है कौन?
So it's very successful, you see.
Yeah, I was just suggesting one thing to just practically materialize all these things. Can we go reverse? For example, let's hypothetically I'm asking, let's make a national call for long-term proposal. Okay. And 10 people will be involved. They will go about, and then they will make a proposal. Of course, they will demand large chunk of time, let's go, and they will also say what is going to be the outcome of the proposal. They will actually sit.
It's a call. I'm first thankful to you for initiating this thing because it's a wonderful opportunity. And other thing which I appreciate, at least Kumar, what I mean engineers and scientists, they are sitting at one place along with next generation to discuss this. So please come out. And then, you also have, let us say, don't call PI or whatever, but there should be somebody who should coordinate. So that what he mentioned, and he has prepared number of places, you see, your first thing, whatever we are talking, it gets documented. It gets streamlined. And then you can call for everybody, this thing. So that really a process is, it may take few months, but it helps you to pin down the requirements which Kumar, Talmania, and sorry, I'm not able to take everybody's name, but I mean engineer. Everybody can, see what you are up to, and then you can start, that way. So that's one, thing I just, you put the platform, I was about to say the same thing. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, Ashok.
Yeah, अभी इसरो के हिस्से हैं.
With my bias towards near infrared, I just want to ask. Now there are a lot of changes up to H band, not as complicated as INSB. Detector arrays are becoming available. how much of you are interested in going up to
Sorry.
H band, extending the wavelength coverage.
No, I think Ashok, problem Nainital has the infrared will be probably limited.
1.3.
1.3 definitely it should.
That is thanks to PIFR.
Yeah. So we have 3.6,
Yeah.
and as now Brijesh pointed out, I think this is a unique thing. Of course, it will be near simultaneous, not simultaneous.
Yeah.
But you have a infrared at one port, side port. You have imaging in another side port in optical, and then you have a spectrograph in the main port, which could be either in optical or in near infrared. So, and once the high resolution spectrograph comes, so these three combined, one single night, you can have a fantastic coverage imaging spectroscopy, multi-wavelengths.
That will also have a fast CCD camera.
Yes.
The side port images.
The scientific CMOS, so it is a, yeah.
Either EMCCD or CMOS.
And I can just aid, you see, ILMT, what I heard, that their CCD problems got sorted out, looks like. Somebody was mentioning somewhere. So it immediately gets surveyed out. And to make best science out of it, you have these things just next to you. So before this thing goes somewhere else, you can be the, you will be the, provided this opportunity, which is unique. So,
Professor,
which is,
what kind of sensor you were mentioning?
No. So like this INSB or other things, cost and running. Last few years, germanium plus in-gas. In-gas.
I mean, Korean things are available, not anything else.
Yeah.
In-gas Korean.
Up to 1.6, then to go to 2.2, it needs again cooling, and then up to J and H, it can certainly do. No,
Korea. This in-gas thing is Korean.
Yeah, I think now we can now move to the science particularly thing before we.
एक चीज है, 2 घंटे से हम लोग हैं, एक चाय का तो कोई
चाय का हो जाएगा एक बार ब्रिजेश जी सिर्फ चाय बुला लो पैराग्राफ होता है हम बातें करते रहे चाय तो रहेगा आप आखिर में आएगा
I think we definitely need tea. So now we can move to science cases definitely, and we need some. Concrete proposals.
You want that what is the direction?
Exactly. So of course we are not saying that what we are doing right now is not something productive, but way hard work.
अच्छा order जोशी जी कुछ बोलना चाहते हैं हाँ थोड़ा पास ले लीजिए
See, I would like to make comment on photometer and polarimeter. Photometer, polarimeter, they are same thing, except that you modulate the light with a small unit. Most expensive component is a halfway plate, and you put it before that, then it's a photometer. And I would suggest that you make multi-channel photometer and use the polarimeter component in that. That can be used as both photometer or polarimeter.
Strong recommendation.
Rest is same. Rest is same.
But I think notice the one which you are talking about is one channel, right?
No,
two channel.
So
No.
Listen. Before you listen,
object, right?
listen.
Is it
Before light,
imaging?
listen first. Before light enters the photometers or CCD, you modulate the light. That's it. Then you put the filter individually.
That
Modulator.
components, polarization, etc. You have to see. It shouldn't introduce a
New
That
program.
instrument polarization has to be always.
Modulator.
That can be measured.
Yeah, I think.
no. So I wanted to ask if 1.3 meter is very good for photometry. Is it good? Then why do we need one more photometer here?
Because number of proposals are
Large for photometry.
For training also.
No, I think it's just we need 2 telescopes to accommodate all the proposals. I mean, this is a simple.
Fine.
So again, coming back to science proposals, you see what we were discussing, and again, what Humchan was also indicating that so far 1.3 and 1 meter telescope is generally reserved for Aries scientists. Having said that, a lot of other members of staff from other institutions also through collaboration they get access, but not directly open. So these discussions we had because by now we have good number of students, so for them, something extra. But, slowly we have to have some possibility for national users as well. So Homchand is indicating in that direction. I could see this. But for that, you see, at the end of the day, my confidence is always, even if somebody from outside, so-called outside, uses the thing, see, for doing the final analysis, he or she will need your help. So you will be some way collaborative. Some will be collaborative. So so in my sense, that confidence also we have to have, that by providing this access to somebody else, I'm not losing everything. It is at the end of the day, if I'm good or if I'm, useful, they will come back to me.
Yes. Right.
It's not always true.
No, this is again, what is happening is, but this is also not correct that I hold everything also.
नहीं आप सुवेंदु को भाई मैं एक चीज जोड़ देता हूँ पर विद्या ऐसा धन है जो बांटने से कभी कम नहीं होगा.
No, that's the different issue. That is different issue. I mean, everybody knows that.
Now, but Shuvendu, what happens is,
not follow that.
But Shuvendu, what I tell you, I'm very frank person. I'm very frank person. That culture is not there within the institute also. I'm very frank on this thing. So you don't say, you blame it on outsiders. It is your individual,
He's having 4 CCTVs now. Everybody doesn't know even.
Right.
Okay, let's.
I have a unique
Yeah. Here, Sita,
there was a time when all of us were starved for data. Literally starved for data. And then, holding that data is to a certain extent acceptable. Now we feel, correct us if you are wrong, we feel there is not as much starvation of data. One is you get your own data, you also get some archive data, etc. So we think the time is now correct when we also express this thing of exchange of data. Rather than, I'm not saying just give away all your data, give away all your time. We will tell him to restrict. I'm not saying give away all the 104 outside proposals. No.
I have no issue if someone is giving the.
No. What I'm saying
I'm
is,
just saying that it's not always true. The comment that they will contact the internal scientists. It's not necessary. I mean,
but to be honest, since you asked the question, Shuvendu, if they're not asking I don't own the data, right? Yeah, I don't own the data. If my scientific merit, my scientific knowledge is not useful for the other person, I don't want to be part of that contribution.
So that is to grow yourself to make your.
Not necessary that you actually nowadays you think this is the multi-wavelength astronomy time. So people have very large collaboration, they share the data. But this is basically a policy matter.
Yeah.
Because we have now at the time earlier we have around 5 to 10 students, but now we have 50 students. So it would be nice if we internally discuss this thing and then make a new policy.
Correct. So that is why before you take a national.
No, hello. This is not possible because this facility is a national facility. These telescopes and these,
I see, Professor UC Joshi and Professor Ashok are here. I was having some idea and I wanted to do observation. That time EMCCT was required, that was in 2009 and we were not having here. And that was just 4 hours observation, but I talked to Professor UC Joshi and we planned the observation. And in fact, we wrote a generator paper, but we wrote it jointly. First, we discussed the proposal, they agreed, and similarly, a international plan was there. For that, I talked to Professor N.M. Ashok, and that was in 2004. That time also, we did it in the similar way. And we wrote a.
Yeah, that's 2004 again.
Yeah.
20 years down the line, things are changing.
Years down, but in that time, students were very less.
No, it's not that. It's the way you share your, as you said, there has to be.
we are not taking a decision now.
And one
You
meter and
people
one
discuss amongst yourselves.
Clearance facility. IIA has 1 meter and 1.3 meter is IIA facility. If every
They've
institute
opened
is
up.
opening,
They have, no, I see, Ashok, hello, there won't be any choice given in near future. There won't be any choice given that, you call it even our facility, because it will be all part of a much bigger, structure. So you have to be prepared for all that as well. So, and others have opened up as well. Others have opened up as well for your information.
okay, then it is okay.
No, you are observing from HCC, no? You are observing
No,
from
SCT
HCC.
is national facility, like 3.6 meters is national facility. 1
One
meter.
meter.
Any fish.
At present, it is not.
No, but that definition doesn't exist. We are all taxpayers' money. What do you mean by non-national facility?
Definition doesn't exist. Practically, it is.
Yes, practice is different. That is forced, that is internal force.
So we will leave it to you. You can also discuss what you want to keep. That's also open it up gradually so that you don't feel threatened. That's also possible.
No, there is no threatening because if somebody writes paper, it's only your paper. They will not take it with them.
Different issue. Different issue.
I mean,
This is the basically policy.
So now what we are, see, the policy decision also has to be taken with community consensus. Policy decisions are not possible to be taken today. You see, the mega vision document which is Prime Minister's office has been preparing, that has been circulated through the entire astronomical communities, right? And the Prime Minister's office is taking the input from that. So don't think that we will be able to take a decision just by, few users. It has to be taken by, it has to be taken by, the users who are, have used over last 50 years and going to use for the future as well. So
I am leaving.
You have a train and all that. So we will wrap up also in another 5 minutes or so. So what I will request, that in case you have some kind of these kind of program which is of survey mode or particular reverberation mapping I was just hearing. So these kind of whatever specific program, there are larger users that has to be identified. It should not come from one or two individuals. This is what the problem arises. And if that person just applying to TAC and TAC has rejected, there is no record why it was rejected and so on and so forth, the program dies. That also should not happen. So also I will suggest you also combine with others.
Yeah, many people should come.
Yeah, so it has to be. I mean, I don't know. Eventually, we will bring it up some way. In fact, for your information, Alok, there is going to be a national level meeting in Bangalore in 2 weeks' time, and there all the directors have been also called to bring out policy of usage of all facilities across the country, and we were also going to get a national tag for all telescopes together. It is coming, so you have to prepare for all that.
Then you have to be very, very prepared.
Absolutely, that is what I'm saying. So let us be prepared for that. And as he pointed out, we are receiving proposals with a half-baked thing. We are not serious about things, Still, we are getting nights. So that is not fair. That doesn't justify.
I find very nice. See, our three telescopes are closed. If we have access, and we call it as a national facility, all the institute facility is a national facility. In 3 months, we can access other telescopes. Right?
So now you are also getting, no?
No.
You can observe from Hanley. What is the big problem?
Hanley we are getting.
Yeah.
That is national facility. I am not national facility.
All facilities are national facilities. I think you're still in the old, regime. So that please come out of it.
I mean, Russia is now.
Yes.
Stalin, you wanted to say something?
I just want to voice the same thing about the quality of the proposals. It's not only for the optical telescopes, even for UV or astros and whatever proposals are coming. The mind state is such that
they go to the telescope dome, give the exposure time, counts just increase for 20 minutes. So this is happening. And even if there are well-defined documents put up on the website to check and write the proposals, the users are not checking the documents and writing the proposals. So even if a national tag is constituted, If the users are not following the procedure, just shut it down. Yes, yes, I have a experience right for ESO, even if you choose a wrong filter, they'll just shut it down. The referee will check the exposure time curve himself. And if that is wrong, that is wrong, that's also shut it down. So here, if a national committee is constituted, we have to be very strict without any bias.
So, but what I'm trying to say, at this point of time, we have to prepare for that.
Yes.
It is coming, but from our, in-house, we have to start preparing for that area. So incidentally, again, the students, the youngsters, proposal writing thing. Madam,
They have
Kita,
workshops.
So as society is doing that, I think we need to really give little more focus on these elements. And maybe both, like best poster award, we'll have best proposal award.
I was about to.
Yeah, we should have it. We can have. No, you're right. We have that. We have that. We have that.
Exam, other things.
Double-blinded review.
I was about to say that. No, are you thinking of the double-blinded process which some people are following?
That kind of you don't have a bias just by looking at the
That
list
has
of
been
the
following the stability.
People are following it.
Is there?
Yes, it is doing that, I mean,
Yeah, actually, the A grade tag, I think, I don't know, what is the grades that are given for the 3.6 meter now?
Yeah,
So
A.
the grades, the proposals with A grade, you take the scientific issue and maybe discuss with the students how these what was the real, the science goals of that and how, you basically go about the business. I think that would be.
Let me ask this, how many of students have submitted observing proposals? Okay, so that's nice. That's nice because it's not your boss, right? You have written that.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mean PI, but you have written that or your boss has written that? That's what I'm asking. You have written that. That's good. That's a good step forward.
But I will I'm not going to take any names or anything. I'll just give some instances. For example, I received 2 proposals, exactly same proposal.
duplicate copy.
Nothing, no changes. Only some object changes are made. I think this is very, very bad because you're not putting your effort. So I think don't take the proposal deadline as the date for the submission. You take maybe, a month time to write the proposal and then submit.
Ajit was joined in the Zoom, but we didn't take him. Yeah. Ajit, are you able to hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I've been enjoying the discussion very much.
Ajit, sorry, we didn't take you because we went everything in person here.
No, because
But
as I
we'll
said,
take
I
your
have to
probably,
attend
suggestions, but virtual observatory also we were discussing a little bit. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very much. Can you?
Coming online? Yeah, he's there.
Hello?
Yeah, maybe they're not in front of the system. Yeah. Ajit, sorry, we couldn't hear you. Can you repeat, please? Is he muted? No, he's.
Our speaker perhaps is talking.
Are you connected to the speaker? Huh? Connected?
Not able to hear.
No. Yeah. We just heard you, Ajit.
Yeah. Good. So I've been enjoying the discussion and very important points being made and about your data archiving. That's really, really important. And then now this time sharing on facilities. Let's see what the discussion will be in Bangalore. And after that, I think that you should have a wider discussion with a cross section of students and other young people from different institutes, right? So that when they adopt a particular system, everybody should be in with it right in the beginning. But this is inevitable, and I really agree with the sentiment being expressed that people will have to be much more collaborative than before. Okay, and there's always some hesitancy because there have been various events in the past where people have not lived up to their collaboration thing, etc. And so some formality will help very much.
Yeah.
So just like you said that there should be formality with the data, and one of you said that, look, you can't take the data out of the observatory until you have finished this standardizing it, standardizing the metadata and standardizing the file, everything. And you could, that could be helped very much by there being, just one moment, please. Sorry, my house is full of guests and everybody talking to the top of their voice. Yeah. So you see that the thing is that the way to encourage people to standardize all the metadata is to have a form, a web form, right? So which everybody could fill in, and if you don't fill it in the right way, it says no go. Right, and I think that if you do this properly, and I believe that you have the ability to do it, it will be quite a pioneering effort, and then it can be adopted at the national level. And all telescopes should be integrated, but then to begin with, I mean, you shouldn't immediately apply big changes at once. And if you try to do that, then you'll become like the Prime Minister of Britain. So in order to avoid that, you start with a graded system where you have a national pool. All telescopes are declared to be national, but you can't nationalize them completely immediately. So you could have a national pool and everybody puts in 20, 30, 40% of the time into that. Right, and the rest of it is kept, and depending upon how the situation goes, you can change that proportion over a 5-year period. And because your people may find that for giving up 40% of the time, they're getting 40% on some other telescope, which is even better. Right, but everybody will have to come on board for that. So all that I'm saying is that everything which I heard here was very progressive, but you need to formalize that. And the younger people must be kept very much into the loop throughout the discussion. But there is no way out. They can't put pressure on you to say they have nahi correct.
Thank you very much, Ajit. You always have the ability to put things in the much more polished way. So I think the message is very clear, and we summarized the things. Yeah, I mean, overnight nothing is good. Of course, there will be gradual learning, gradual adaptation to the changing system. But I think he also pointed out one very important thing. Of course, Alok was also indicating the similar thing, that when you give up something, you also get it from some other source. So that additional thing, it complements what you are doing, because you are limited with your facilities. But suppose the other telescope with a similar capability, he has the 2-channel polarization measurement that adds to your program. So I think there is a give and take. So that's how the pool becomes more. So even if you want to upgrade anything, that's the discussion I wanted to have in ST. It should be with a national consensus, or at least user consensus. Whoever has been using 1 meter so far, that consensus should be there. Yeah, Sita, please.
Yeah, I remember at some stage we discussed this. This is for the younger people. At what we keep evaluating at what stage we are. I think we are at a stage where individual astronomers from India are making an impact. We have seen the citations list from Maheshwar. We have seen the citation list from Shashi and Kuntal, etc. But now the stage is there where we make an impact as a national level. And therefore it is needed that all of you collaborate and get the best science out of it. And then the international level, you will make an impact that you will be considered, where they will call you and say, hey, you are expert in this, please do this. I mean, this is the aim which we have.
Thanks, very nicely pointed. Yeah. Last word, sir, Professor? Okay. Yeah, we'll just close in 2 minutes, and I will have a last comment. Please.
Yes. 2 minutes. I think a lot has been said and remains to be implemented. But this idea of this facility is national, this is not national, it is obsolete. The funding comes from a single national pool, and this is national, this is anti-national. change that mindset.
Yeah. On hand, right? What is it?
Friends, please remember, it is not the machine which is important. It is your brain behind the machine which is important. Never be dominated by the machine, however big or small it may be. Always remember on the capabilities and the qualities of your neuron cells. That is my first request and suggestion to that younger generation. We are not going to change. We are rigid bodies. But you are fragile, you are lenient, you can change in that time. That is the way. Second thing, at my age, we all become, and physics is a philosophy as well. You know, I may be philosophical in my few words, which are coming to you now. Where is life? Where is life? We have lost it for living. Where is wisdom? We have lost it for knowledge. Where is knowledge? We have lost it for information. Madam Sita was saying that. Where is we have lost it for information. And where is information? Information is in your chip.
Mobile.
Not here. I am in touch with primary 8th class, that level students myself. I know they are lacking grammar because the language of mobile is coming on paper in examination days even. I can see they are lacking in basic arithmetic. They need calculator even for shopping totals. They are not using, we say, we use only fraction of our brain capability. The coming generation is still decreasing in using this brain capability. Kindly support it in your in-house as well as out-house. That is the thing. Your own kid may be very well versed in using the remote to set the TV, but you'll be asking what is 2 plus 3 and what is 3 plus 2, he may be bewildered. And remember one thing, 1 and 1 is 11. True. But friends, if there are two friends, 1 and 1, if one goes, other has no life. Thank you for patience with me. Jai Hind, and I do not know whether I will be coming back to these premises.
You will.
Sir, please submit a proposal.
I had requested, you remember, he allotted me 10 minutes of time orally. And Bridges also agreed. I have not been given 10 minutes. That day I was given 6 minutes. Today 3 minutes. My 1 minute remains.
Make visit.
And I am thankful to Deepankarji for one small thing. I'm not using mic. This is from my heart. How I met him. 3 days back or 4 days back. On 15th, I just from the guest house walked out and a scooter was there standing. I thought like this scooter, somebody may be coming, if it is single, I can take a lift because I feel difficulty in walking. And I tried for Babuddin. His phone was not operational. This one. So I thought that I will go to his residence. I went there with Nathani perhaps, or Nathani. and there it was locked. What to do? I found one lady just doing some cleaning and sweeping work in his residence. I realized this is the residence of the director. I took out my card and requested that lady, kindly give this card to your boss. She said that he is about to leave in 10 minutes for somewhere. So I said, then I will wait outside. That is better. Anyhow, she got some noise, perhaps noise pollution of my presence. He came out in chappal. He simply said, I'm getting dressed up, and I gave him the card. He took the card, whether he looked at it or not. He simply felt that it is of no use. This man is to be carried away from here. He took me to his office, and on way, it was decided I will keep mum. It was very difficult for me. In his office, he was having a double channel TV type computer and all this, and entire table filled with this, that. He told me that some meeting has already been there. The minutes are to be prepared and circulated, and for tomorrow that another meeting is coming up. So I kept. Anyway, he gave me a cup of tea, which I will today. And then he made all the arrangements then and there that I can go to Devasthal on the next day after the meeting on his own. Not only he remembered he came to the guest house, he recognized me and told me, are you ready to go to Devasthal today? So I am thankful to him for his all human courtesy, and I wish him the best of success in his endeavors and his love for these younger generation. Whatever he has decided today, if you keep it in mind, then that is not for his own sake. He wants to develop a system that whatever is going inside this institution should be known to others, even after 10 years, a decade or 2 decades, which we are missing today. Nowadays, our observatory is like Vedic recharge. Oral instructions given from one person to the other, to the next generation. No documentation. He wants that everything should be kept in such a way that they should be there. Clear? And as I have a habit, I tell you, with all due respect to Mehra sir, H.S. Mehra sir, I learned from him a lot in instrumentation, in the north-south alignment. Only Mehra and myself did for this 104 centimeter telescope on the open sides. Because I had open nights with 52 centimeter telescope, which has a rolling heart, no dome. And only 2 persons have been named, one Goraya after me and one myself, who used to come in the evening, open the telescope and then close it when the sun is coming back. I did one thing. To the younger generation, this information may be of use. Whenever you study with your instrument, kindly make your aim like Arjun. Fix your point that this is the target you have to achieve. Don't go, one day you observe meteor, another comet, another peculiar star, another planet. No. If you want to do a thesis, take a subject and go deeper in it. I belong to only K-type stars for 6 years. For K-type stars I worked. I did not touch anything. My seniors, 20, 15 years earlier and younger, they had scattered interest, casual interest. I never had. And regarding Mehra sir, kindly check the record. Whether in 1974, he submitted his thesis earlier than me or I submitted. The very first thesis from this place was neither of Marathon nor mine. For your information, it was from Dr. P.P. Saxena that got to an air glow status. Kindly check it. If you want to put the records, then please take it, find out where it is.
I think he's a professor at
He is elder to us. He submitted his thesis way back in 1970 or 69. And then we had very good relations. We still have. Prem Prakash Saxena ji. Not only that, optics shop, optics store for 1 meter telescope. He was having it when he was going to Lucknow. It was given to me. And after that, it was given to Paresh Umesh. You had? No.
I didn't have this.
You had it. Somebody got it. PRL कहाँ जाएंगे? और आपको बता दें, एक चीज और याद रखना, मैं नाम से बता रहा हूँ, मेरी मेमोरी अभी खराब नहीं हुई। अगर एग्जामिनेशन में आपको नंबर कभी कम मिल जाए, थोड़ी देर के लिए निराश हो जाइएगा, दुखी हो जाइएगा, नेचुरल है, लेकिन अपने अंदर की जिज्ञासा को, अपने अंदर के कैरेक्टर को, अपने अंदर की ताकत को संजो के रखिएगा। मेरे सामने राम सागर जी बैठे हुए हैं, एमएससी में 1 अंक से फर्स्ट डिवीजन का मिस हो गया।
720 पे था, 719 था,
719 रह गया था, 1 नंबर कम था।
तब 60% में पीएचडी एडमिशन नहीं था।
नहीं, मैं बता रहा हूँ आपको, मैं उन दिनों और मैं आपको तो कंप्रोमाइज कहाँ करना चाहिए। जब मैंने थीसिस सबमिट किया तो सुपरवाइजर यूनिवर्सिटी का होता था और को सुपरवाइजर इंस्टीट्यूट का होता था, जॉइंट सुपरवाइजर। जब हमने एमओयू साइन किया तब तक हमको पता लगा कि यूनिवर्सिटी का लेवल यहाँ से यहीं का यहीं रह गया, घटा बड़ा नहीं है, वही के वही है। आपके इंस्टीट्यूट का लेवल इधर चला गया, तो उसमें खाली इसके लिए बहुत दिनों तक रुका रहा कि सुपरवाइजर एरीज का होगा, को सुपरवाइजर हमारे यहाँ का होगा। और इसके लिए 15 मिनट में एग्रीमेंट हुआ था, याद करिए। 4 साल तक हैंगिंग कर रहा था और हमारे इंजीनियर जी बैठे हुए हैं जिन्होंने क्यों एमओयू बाद में साइन करके दी।
Actually, everything was Ram Sagar.
No. RTI goes only Indrani Chattopadhyay. Only Indrani will be there. His signature is not there. And one more thing, last one. देखिए, मैं एक बेवकूफी का काम करता हूँ, चाय आएगी कि नहीं मुझे नहीं पता। सुनिए, एक मिनट सुनिए, चाय
अब सब 10 मिनट हो गया।
Okay, just last comment. So, yeah, closing remarks. So, yeah, with the help of the organizers, I think, Brijesh, Mitesh, and, Shashi has put a lot of effort. Of course, a lot of people, we didn't have a formal vote of thanks, but I think it's really, really important to acknowledge a lot of people's contributions. I'm just not naming everybody, but it's true, all the scientific staff, engineering staff, some of the technical stuff, and we had some, gaps in between. So whatever mistakes there have been, because, we are also organizing meetings after 2-3 years. So there's been a lot of changes which has happened. So please bear with us. I'm really, really delighted and honored. And this place, as far as I am concerned, is built by Professor Ram Sagar, because that's the birth time which I have seen. I was born in 1990 in academic life, and I have seen him from there. And from then, I have only seen Aries through his eyes. So that way, thank you, sir, for coming. So please keeping us a place. So again, once again, I will remind you, the people who are connected with this institute, please feel that you are still connected and feel free to come anytime. And I think it's a nice place to come, and let us do things together. I think whatever critical mass we have here is still not enough for the kind of programs which we are trying to undertake. So if we join hands, it will be much, much better. So I will really request, and I'm very happy that this is a good start. So let's have tea, and thank you for coming.
Just to aid on him, before we leave on the way, you have very bright future. You see, things are growing like anything. I could not put in data, but you see, you have now facility in Bhagwan. Some future things are coming. So see, what he tells me, he has big plans for planetarium and whatnot. So, these things are very attractive. When you have an opportunity, make best use of it. And this person will bring money. So, वो करो आप और उसका फायदा उठाओ. You have very bright future.
Thank you, sir.
Mike. Sorry, this person who I said I don't want to, it's in proper sense.
If anybody is carrying the mic, kindly hand it over.
वो खो जाता है पॉइंटर भी खो जाता है
Pointer अभी है यहाँ है Pointer.
This is सर दूसरा कोई रिकॉर्डिंग है गैप था उसका ऑडियो रिकॉर्डिंग
वो 5 मिनट के
जो भी इनके और कनेक्ट स्विच हुआ था
वो मैं कल के दाखिल में
हाँ वो रिकॉर्डिंग and then you can use the audio.